wrong?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 science fiction thriller Last Sentinel. The film is directed by Tanel Toom and it stars Kate Bosworth, Lucian Lavinscount, Martin McCann and Thomas Kretschmann. Now the film focuses on a small group of soldiers who essentially, and this is set in 2063 I think it is, they are stranded on an abandoned military base that's kind of plonked in the middle of the ocean. Their job essentially is to guard this post. There's like a special weapon there that they're in control of, and if they get certain orders, they have to kind of press the button sort of thing. And they are kind of struck by a freak wave. They need repairs. The relief crew hasn't turned up to essentially, you know, relieve them so they can go home. And they're at war constantly with another continent. So essentially, there's like 4 people on this outpost. And there's a chain of command. You've got the leader of them, played by Thomas Kretschmann. And then you've got Corporal Cassidy, played by Kate Bosworth, and then 2 privates. But the chain of command is fragile at best because they basically want to go home. Certainly the 2 privates and the corporal played by Kate Bosworth, they want to go home. However, the sergeant has no intention of abandoning his post and he'll make them stay at any cost, essentially. Right, what are my thoughts on Last Sentinel? Well, the idea of this and the concept of it sounds really good. The execution of this film, unfortunately, is decidedly quite dull. It is little more than 4 people in a small space guarding this outpost who essentially are getting more and more frustrated. They're feeling isolated, they're feeling cut off, and they want to get out of there. Certainly some of them do. So that's the friction. Some want to go, some want to stay. And the chain of command essentially is losing its luster, you know what I mean, in regards to following orders, all this kind of stuff. So there's a level of distrust that is happening amongst this small group of people. And it's only kind of added to as the film goes on, you know, the level of distrust keeps going up and up and up and up sort of thing. So you get that, but that's really all you get. Beyond that, there's very little excitement here in this. There's a couple of moments where it threatens to pick up, but doesn't really pull the trigger and you know, make it exciting. You know, there's occasionally there's a mysterious figure type turns up. There's a little bit of gunplay here and there. There's a few threats. There's accusations of people going mad and all, you know, the usual kind of distrust that you would get in a scenario like this. And then beyond that, there's not much to watch here. It's one of those films that I continued to watch because I thought it was going to improve, or I thought things were going to get better, or I thought it was going to start getting interesting. And it never really did any of that. You know what I mean? It's almost like a missed opportunity. This could have been a great horror. The setting's perfect. It's grim. It's, like I say, it's isolated. This could have been, I think, a great horror if they'd have, you know, added some horror elements into this. What they essentially have done is done like a character drama set in the near future that is just 4 people falling out with each other consistently throughout the film. And just distrust. That's the movie. There's not a great deal else here on display. I do genuinely think this was a massively missed opportunity because the casting here is fine. Kate Bosworth, I didn't even actually realise this was Kate Bosworth until I looked at the cast list while I was watching it. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Kate Bosworth. whatever happened to Kate Bosworth? She's fairly unrecognisable here. But yeah, we've got Kate Bosworth, and we've got a couple of other faces that you'll recognise, especially Thomas Kretschmann. And everybody delivers in regards to the performance. I don't have an issue with any of that, really. It's just really the characters are dreadfully uninteresting. You know, they try and mix a little bit of tension and a sexual tension in there, in a sense of a couple of them are having an affair. You know, the Kate Bosworth character and somebody else. But it's more like a relationship for convenience for one of them, and the other one's in love, and you know, typical kind of stuff that it's trying to add layers to these characters, but they're fairly uninteresting characters, so it doesn't really add anything. And then you know, you've got the other character like the Grease Monkey, who's just very generic, is nothing to offer other than lots of shouting and swearing and you know all that kind of stuff. And yeah, there's not much else here to recommend. It's a really odd film because it's one of those films as well. When you finish watching it, you're just kind of thinking, well, what was the point? I don't really get this. Who thought this was a good idea to make this film? There's nothing really here to grip you. There's nothing really here to excite you. It's a science fiction because it's set in the near future, but there's nothing futuristic really about it. The characters aren't particularly interesting. The plot's not exactly gripping. So why waste money and make this film? It's sometimes I watch a film and I'm just like, it just seems like a waste of resources. I get why really low budget films are made. You know what I mean? They could put a nice poster on the sleeve and churn it out, and somebody buys it and watches it and bins it. But this, you know, it's got a real cast involved. It's got a real budget involved, and somebody must have looked at the end product at this and thought, yeah, it's not right interesting, is it? But guys, but I'll tell you what, we'll release it on streaming. Maybe somebody will watch it. It seems like a waste of resources to me. But so it's a film I can't really recommend, but it's at the same time it's not what I would describe as a bad film either. It's just not very interesting. Is probably the nicest compliment I can give it. So yeah, very very middling for me, this film. You know, it just very little else to recommend, unfortunately. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more content on the channel very very soon.